It's Spotify rap season, so let's take a look at mine. So obviously I've been doing more of a deep dive on artists and albums, but I feel like 94 genres is a little bit much. And here are the top 5 most listened to genres. Pretty basic. I'm interested on what singer-songwriter is. Maybe that's more of like a Big Thief thing. And interested about indie soul as well. This also seems like a lot of songs. I'm going to double check this with a thing called Last FM. If you're not aware of that, I'll double check that at the end, but that seems like a fair bit. Listen, I was going through my feelings in January. My top song is Place to Be by Nick Drake. If you haven't listened to this album, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. Definitely listen to this album. I'm also surprised my top 2 most listened to tracks are from that same album. Shout out to Always. Those were definitely my favorite tracks off of this album. And also Die For You by Joji. Really interesting. This is something I'm pretty proud of too. 65,000 minutes, which is 45 days. I know some people listen to Spotify while they sleep or, something to doze off to or just put on in the background. I've seen people that have like 150,000, 200,000 minutes. That's not really possible unless you listen to music while you sleep or every waking moment that you're up. So I'm pretty proud of this. I'm also very proud of this. 1,800 artists this year. That's insane. And yes, the main one is Sufjan Stevens. He did put out his newest album, Javelin, this year. I've also been listening to a lot of his other stuff. Indie rock, I guess it's just sad indie stuff, really. His album, Carrie & Lowell, is one of my favorites of all time. A Beginner's Mind, which came out 2 years ago, was still in heavy rotation for me this year. And Javelin, his newest album, you're going to see on my end of year list. It's really amazing. You can even see when the newest album came out. It was in October, or mid-September, I think. So I like how they show this display. Number 2, JPEG Mafia is very, very interesting. Because I know they released Scaring the Hose around March, but did not think he would be number 2 all time for me. I saw Jeff live. I cannot recommend Jeff enough. He is an amazing guitarist. His entire band is phenomenal. His newest album came out in August. Go check that out. It's called Hell Mode. Usually always makes it, no pun intended, onto my end of year lists. They released Blue Rev last year, their newest album in like 5 years. And it just picked up with me, especially around like that springtime. Big Thief, yes. Dragon Noir Mountain, I Believe in You came out last year, but it's just such a warm, engulfing blanket of an album that I listen to it all the time. You can definitely tell there's not really a peak or any dip from like June all the way to September. It's all just really solid. This part was really interesting too. I know they did some kind of weird chart thing last year, but I like how they did this. I'm apparently a hypnotist, which is really interesting to see why they called it that. It says I like to play albums all the way through from the opening track to the final note. And that's true, that's kind of the whole point of this channel is listening to albums and giving them ratings. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And here it is. Here's the final list. Keep in mind that Spotify stops tracking these on October 31st. So anything from November all the way to the end of December doesn't really count in this. So they are missing a couple months. However, there is one thing I do want to check as well. So there's a website called Last.fm, and if you go to it, it will track exactly what time you listen to each track. It'll categorize what artist, what album, what genre, literally everything. Don't look at my top track right now. I'm going through a phase. And as you can see, some of the top artists are just off. Like the first couple are correct, but it said that Big Thief was like 4 or 5, and Big Thief's all the way down at 9. It would say Nick Drake is in the top 5, and it would say De La Soul is right there as well. I don't understand how they get these so wrong every year. And even tracks were pretty off as well. Road, which is supposed to be my number 2, is all the way down at number 6, and it includes another Joji track instead. So, again, they have this ability to find these stats from people. I don't understand how they get it so wrong every year. I know it didn't give me top albums, but I think that's pretty interesting, because obviously the tracks kind of give it away a little bit. But, yeah, I thought this was still pretty interesting. Obviously, since I am an album guy, makes more sense. Let me know your top artists and top songs and your Spotify raps in the comments, and let me know what you thought of mine as well. Thanks.